last week you learned the verb ser, but in this lesson you're going to learn a lot more, okay? So to begin with, we need to talk about what is an infinitive verb. An infinitive is a verb that is not conjugated. It is in its most basic form. An example would be to speak, to sing, to eat, and so on. How do you recognize it in English? Because you have that to word in front of it. In Spanish, you recognize an infinitive because of the ending. So all verbs in Spanish, all of them, fall into three categories. Category 1, they end in ar, they end in ar. Category 2, they end in er. Category 3, in ir. This week, we are going to learn how to conjugate or how to use verbs that end in ar. For example, hablar, to speak. Now, when I was learning English and I needed to learn how to conjugate to speak, for example, I understood that I had to put it next to a subject pronoun. For example, I speak. But when I got to he, I understood that I needed to add an S. So he speaks, okay? So something similar happens in Spanish. What you do is you take a verb such as hablar, and you know it's an infinitive because it ends in ar, okay? So what you do is you take out that ar, you take out the ending, and if you want to say I speak, you add an O. So hablar, take out the AR, add an O, and it becomes yo hablo, okay? That rule applies to any AR verb that is regular. Regular means that it follows rules. And so I'll give you another one. Cantar, to sing. You want to say I sing, you take out the AR and you add what? Hopefully you said an O. So cantar becomes yo canto. Now, because I know that that O always goes with yo, sometimes we leave out that yo and we just say canto. What if I want to say you speak? That's a different ending. Okay, so from now on, all the endings for tú, usted, él, ella, and so on, they are going to start with a. Okay, so for tú, for example, the ending is as. For example, hablar, I would take out the AR, and instead of adding that O for yo, for tú, I would add as. Hablas. Tú hablas. You speak. Cantar. Tú cantas. Tomar. Tomar café. Tú tomas. Tú tomas. Okay, so far what do we know? An O for yo and as for tú. So that means that anytime I'm asking you a question, the verbs are going to end in as, and you're going to transform them and put them in O because you're going to be answering about yourself. For example, if I say, tú hablas español, you will have to switch it to yo. Sí, yo hablo español. Okay? Here's another question for you. ¿Cantas? Do you sing? ¿Tú cantas? Hopefully you answered, sí, yo canto. But if you don't, you could have said, no, yo no canto. You just add that no before the verb. Okay, let's practice with another verb. Desayunar, to have breakfast. Question for you. Remember, I'm adding that AS because I'm asking you. ¿Tú desayunas cereal? Hopefully you said, sí, desayuno cereal, or no, no desayuno cereal. Okay? Tomar, to drink. Tomar also means to take, but in this case, we're gonna use it as to drink. ¿Tomas agua o café? Hopefully you said tomo and then select whatever you drink, right? Okay, so far we know the ending for yo and the ending for tú. Now let's learn the ending for él, ella, or usted. The ending for él, ella, or usted is a. Okay, so think about your roommate. Your roommate. Patricia speaks Spanish. Patricia habla español. Okay, so same mechanics. I'm taking out the AR and I'm adding my ending for él, ella, or usted, which is a. Roberto toma Coca-Cola. Roberto toma Coca-Cola. Usted. Now I could use usted to ask you questions as well. Usted, and I'm using the formal way. Usted toma café? And then you would have to answer sí, tomo café, or no, no tomo café. So, o, as, a. O for yo, as for tú, a for él, ella, or usted. Now, if we go into the plural ones, we just learned él, ella, usted, the ending is a. If we're talking about plural, ellos, they, or ustedes, you all, the ending is an. Por ejemplo, ustedes hablan español. Ustedes hablan español. Un poco, ¿sí? Ustedes toman agua. Ustedes toman agua. Ellos, let's assume that we're talking about our friends in the other classroom. Ellos toman Coca-Cola. Okay? What about we? The ending for we is amos. So the ending for nosotros is amos. Nosotros, let's use another verb, estudiar. Estudiar. The ending is amos. So take out the AR and add amos. Nosotros estudiamos en la universidad. Nosotros estudiamos en la universidad. And then if you learn vosotros, vosotros means you all, but only in Spain, right? In the class we're using ustedes. But if you learned vosotros, then you can continue using it for ustedes or for you all. The ending would be ais. Por ejemplo, vosotros, you all, estudiáis español. Vosotros estudiáis español. But I'm from Bolivia, and in the rest of the world, of the Spanish-speaking world, we use ustedes. So I would say, ustedes estudian español. Okay, so to summarize, in order for us to conjugate any AR verb, we need to modify the infinitive. How do we modify it? We take out the AR and we add the appropriate ending that corresponds to a subject pronoun. Okay, so for yo, o. For tú, as. For él, ella, or usted, a. For nosotros, including myself, amos. For vosotros, if you use the Spanish form, ais. For ustedes, if you use the you all that we use in the rest of the Spanish-speaking world, an. For ellos, ellas, an. Okay? So, o as a, amos, ais, an. You can skip ais if you don't use vosotros. Okay? What's next? So next, what you need to do, now that you know the mechanics, this is the easy part. Okay? You need to remember the endings, o as a, amos, an, and I'm gonna put a song. Also, I'm gonna add it in the description box if you wanna go listen to it. Next, You need to learn some AR verbs. And this week, I am going to ask you to learn lots of them. So make sure that you take a look at your resources and take a look at the verbs that are listed for this week, all of the AR verbs, and make sure you know the meanings. And then you can start using them. Next week, I will also add a video for you to practice those. Okay, so watch out for that video. That's it for this week. See you next time. Bye.